Hi, everybody. I know it's been a minute. Welcome to Laura A Vlogs. It's been a good minute that I put up a video, but it's okay. It's okay because I don't feel pressure to do videos every week. Only if I feel like I got something to share, topics that comes into my mind and conversations I had along the way with people. And just whenever I feel inspired, then I'll put something out. In the meantime, I'm doing very well. I've been working really hard on my second channel, plus, working, daily in my main, workplace. And like I said, sometimes I get inspired with conversations that I have with people that I meet along the way, as well as with my own family. And it left me thinking about the things that I've been through most of my life, and how it was really important for me to evolve from one set of mindset of thinking to who I am becoming now. And what I mean by that is that, me personally, I grew up in such a toxic environment, from childhood. And, when you think that is normal behavior, eventually as you get older, you realize it's not normal behavior. And I gotta thank God that I have been, consistently working hard on changing a lot of things that are how I see the world. And I've been already about 6-7 months already into therapy that I've been doing every week. And if it wasn't for that, I don't think I would be sitting here having a conversation about life. And I thank God first, and I also thank my children, who has been such a great support for me, because of the fact that when it comes to dealing with depression, it's not easy to get out of. And I've been working really hard to not stay in that dark place, because of the fact that I owe it to myself and my family, that I want them to know that it's okay to feel sad, but it's also okay to talk about it. And it's been such a journey for me, because I've been digging deep on situations that I've been through, and especially the last few years, I would say maybe 7 years, the past 7-8 years, that I've been through a whirlwind roller coaster with things happening in my life. You come to realize what is really important. And, unfortunately, we come from a society that, retaliation when you're angry is such an easy mechanism to do. And just people are programmed that, that whole fire with fire, type of thing. And for me, I never was the type that I like confrontation of any type. But I've learned over the years, to speak up. And even though my words can be very cutting, but I always felt that, you got to be very truthful and not hide behind some sort of fake mask just to please individuals, to make them feel comfortable. And I think this society has become like that. People want to feel comfortable. They want to hide behind a mask, and they don't want to be truthful. And then in my household, I tend to be very blunt how I think, and I treat my sons that it's okay to talk about your feelings. It's okay to express your thoughts. It might be good, it might be bad. But also, I also teach them that regardless the difficulties we could come with each other as a family, we will never, ever disrespect each other and retaliate with each other. Because I think the foundations of a parent is guiding your children to have respect for yourself and others around you. And, I will never sit here to say, I'm, a perfect parent because, like I always mention in every video that I've done throughout the years, perfection doesn't exist. What we can do is improve ourselves and be there for our kids and make sure they have the proper foundation. Even though they're grown now, they're practically adults. And, but I want them to realize that, whatever stuff they learned along the way, I always tell them, erase that. Let's start from the beginning. And I've tried to pretty much talk about a lot of things that are not easy topics because, they're every day in the real world encountering different characters, especially here in New York City. You encounter so many characters, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And it's always important to have the safe space to decompress your thoughts and share what exactly you're feeling at the moment. I always want them to feel like they are being heard. And that is something that, I've appreciate my relationship with my sons because, they teaching me how to be a better parent and always trying to elevate myself in the way I think and how I see the world and actually help them understand what is acceptable and what is not acceptable and how you interact with people. We were talking, I think it was yesterday, with one of my children. I'm a little winded, but I'm okay. So I was talking with one of my children, and we just love having conversations of things in life. And we were having dinner last night, and he's telling me, Ma, I want to share a movie with you. He goes, I happen to see this. A movie of a gentleman on YouTube that he lived up to 108 years old. I'm sure he's long gone because that movie was made 8 years ago. And he was a veteran. He served his country. He pretty much did everything that he had to do, not only to survive a war, but even, living his life. And at the time he was living in Texas, and he retired. But what he wanted us to take out of his story was learning to have peace and live in peace. And, and peace is such a very difficult thing to have, especially if you're not used to, living in a toxic environment, sometimes growing up or being in a relationship with people, or even living in a city that toxicity is every day present in front of your eyes. So it can be difficult to achieve. But he was so adamant on talking about that. What he learned throughout his life is appreciate people who are kind to you. Appreciate serving the church, whatever religion you're under. You know, this is not about a Christianity or Catholicism or anything like that. Just serving your spiritual growth for the higher good of, you know, whoever you're serving for. And always be thankful what you have. And he lived a very simple life. Living in Texas, you know, he says sometimes he had to get up at 3 a.m. because his body doesn't let him sleep. So he says, okay, I'm going to get up. I'm going to start my day. And he drove. He drove around. And he still had his license, living a normal life and going shopping with his friend and attending different church services and just enjoying the simplicity of life. That is something so beautiful that I notice that people like him enjoy. Just the quietness, listening to the birds, just living with nature and saying thank you for what you have provided for me. And thank you for finding kind people and being there for me. And that is something that I'm trying really hard to achieve in my own life. And as of lately, I have encountered a lot of sweet people in my own daily life. And I'm the type of person I don't look for, you know, to be taken care of, because I pretty much take care of myself. But, you know, it's really great appreciation what little kindness people share with me. You know, sometimes their thoughts, sometimes, you know, little conversations. And sometimes, you know, like as of lately, you know, I haven't been well because I've been in a flare up. And, you know, people come and it's like, you know what, Laura, I was thinking about you because I know you're not feeling well, but here's some flowers. And as of lately, I've been posting some flowers that I was given and just sharing the simplicity of kindness, you know, without some unrealistic expectations from people. And out of that, you know, I explained to my son that, you know, we have to make sure in order to achieve that peace, we got to learn to let go of being angry and petty and jealousy, because of the fact that, you know, the world has been programmed that if someone's doing good, people have that really nasty little, the evil eye, the jealousy of, well, you know, why is she doing better and I'm doing worse? And why is she getting people taking care of her and I can't seem to get somebody to help me with my situation? Guess what? Try evaluating yourself. Try evaluating yourself and see why you're acting like that. Because if you're having moments of anger towards another human being because they're doing better and you're not doing so great, then you need to evaluate yourself and see what you need to change about yourself. But a lot of people don't want to do that. People want shortcuts in life. You know, the quick fixes, the time to do things that it's sometimes not ethical, and then some things that you just don't want to work hard for. And that's how people tend to do things, to say, you know what, I'm going to get ahead because, I'm going to show that person that I'm doing better. Or, sometimes people retaliate and get angry because of the fact that they're not happy that you're happy. Or sometimes people would, let's say if you don't reach out to people because you are busy, you're genuinely busy. You have a life that is not always revolving other people. We all have our own responsibilities to take care of. And me, I had to learn to really focus on myself more and give myself breaks and say, you know what, Laura, you deserve that time off because you really worked really hard in taking care of what you had to take care of, either home, work, my family. I had to learn to prioritize myself. And all the other people that are not important in my life, I just was like, I have no time. I wish them well. I will not, I'm not going to sit there and be angry and say, well, so-and-so, was not there for me, because a lot of people were not there for me anyway. I would say, like, I had quite a few different people that thought that I was going to be in relationships with. And you know what? They proved me that they were not fit. They were not fit to be part of my life. And you know what? I proved them, you're right. I'm not fit to be part of their life. But I'm not going to sit there and plot and plan and see how I could get back at them. I'm not going to be conniving and hurt people behind the back and say, you know what, I'm going to talk shit about Laura. I'm going to really show her, I'm going to show so-and-so how he treated me and hurt my feelings. I'm not going to do that. What does it solve to be angry and jealous and petty towards each other? Because to me, it's not solving anything. All you're doing is creating more toxicity in each other's lives and not exactly finding the peace that you're looking for within. And so this past year, I really let go a lot of things, a lot of people that, you know what, it didn't work out. I closed that door since I would say since December. I closed that door permanently. I felt liberated because of the fact that, you know what, it's okay. I will find better. And I'm not upset about it either, because I know I did what I could. I was not a horrible person. I always treat people with kindness. If I have to speak my mind about certain things, I made sure the person would try to hear what I had to say. But if you have people that don't want to understand you and treat you like you're not important and not even make an effort to be there for you, then why are you going to waste your energies for? Seems like I'm adding a lot of different topics all at the same time. But it's with a purpose. It's with a purpose because of the fact that in order to achieve your internal peace, whatever struggles you're going through, because it could be, love, it could be, work, it could be, family, and the ins and outs of the different emotions that people carry and how it's being projected to you. How can you handle and maintain that peace when you're turning around and see somebody bringing their mess to your front door? How can you achieve that peace? As of lately, I've been putting down my foot with everybody, because I'm like, listen, I can't do this anymore, because I'm a person that has an autoimmune condition. Any little stress will put me to an early grave, and I refuse to be put in that position. Not for any individual. I will never, ever will try to put any more people on a pedestal and make myself less to stress me out unnecessarily. So now I'm like, you know what? It's time to take care of me. And whoever doesn't agree and at least take the understanding where I'm coming from and acknowledge how serious I am, then they need to go. They need to go. And I will not sit there and plot and plan, and I'm going to be like, I'm going to get that person back because that little bastard, he did me wrong. Again, that's wasted energy. So what I do is I pray. I pray a lot. And I try to relax. Enjoy the air around me. Join the company of my family. And laugh. I'm the biggest goofball that people could ever know. I always share the silliest memes, and a lot of them are inappropriate, but I don't care. Because you know what? Good laughter is good for the soul. So you try to achieve your peace whatever you can. Is it putting strict boundaries with another person? Giving yourself the pedestal of becoming more priority? Taking time off from work? Getting on a vacation? Spending time and reflecting, what ways can I change about myself? Because also that's the biggest part, is changing your mindset of who you are and who you want to become. Because if you have a family, your responsibility is to be a better parent. If you are single, your responsibility is, how can I be a better human being and not treat others like crap? That's a lot of reflection. But I think if people want change for the better, you need to start within. Start within yourself and evaluating, what do I want to change about myself and how to achieve it too. And leave behind the anger, the jealousy, the petty games that people tend to play with each other. Mind games, these lovely little, how you say this, the mind games, these lovely, like love bombing. Just leave it behind and say, what do I want? How am I going to change? Sometimes you might have to go into counseling. Sometimes you might have to get a person who is neutral. Now, sometimes with family, you can't do that with family. And I'm going to be honest with you. No matter no matter how much you may love your family, sometimes they don't know when it is to be neutral. And that's why I never really talked with my own family about anything, because nobody can't relate. I am a totally different person than the rest of my family. My sisters, I'm like the oldest in my mother's side. I'm the oldest of the three, and we all so different. We have different thoughts, different characteristics. One thing that we have in common is that when we lose our temper, boy, we are going to show it. And we have no filter. But we just can't relate in our own personal lives because we all live in different, environments. So we do is just like, you know what? I said, that's why I said last year, I said, you know what? I'm going to really start going in therapy because I need somebody that is not family related, because you know what? Sometimes families, they love to throw in their own ideas and agendas and what you should do with your own life. And that should not be the plan, because their ideas is not going to coincide with your ideas. And we are not cut in the same mold, regardless genetics. So I said, you know what? I'm going to go for therapy. I'd rather have a neutral person and just share my own thoughts and feelings of what I've been going through. And it has helped me along the way, because at the end of it all, I'm learning is to take care of myself and love myself more. Everybody else is taking, if I have time, I'll be with you. If I don't have time, then I'm sorry. I just have to keep it moving. But to pretty much be someone else's punching bag and being treated like shit and being used and hurt and backstabbed and all these other things that I've been through throughout my whole life, between family as well as in my own personal life, that will not be continuing in my future. Now I'm learning to be who I really meant to be. And I am doing a lot of work on that. And so anybody that, like I would say is this, anybody that hurt me in the past, if they say, oh, well, I love you, I miss you, just stay in the past. Because if that individual never was there for you and cared for you and supported you and really understand you, then they have no business to be in your life. Yeah. And one more thing. Recently, you see, I love my son. I love my boys. I was having like a heart-to-heart talk with my younger son. And I said to my son, I said, listen, with the amount of bullshit that I've been through in my life, nobody really understood me. Nobody. You know, sometimes you go through those bouts of feeling alone. And I said, you know, in this life, nobody understood me, who I really am. And my son, he is such a sweet soul. He goes to me, Mama, that's okay, because I'm the one who understands you. But you know what? It's okay. I'm here for you. And when he said that, I started crying. Because, you know, I know that. I wasn't looking for, like, to be, you know, like justified, or not even looking for someone to say, Laura, don't worry, I got you. I wasn't even looking like that. But like, he knew the amount of things that I was going throughout my whole life. He just was like, you know what, Ma, I know who you really are. And I understand you. And since that day, I was like, you know what, I gotta continue being here for my family and continue working on myself and becoming a better human being. Because even though my sons are older and they're adults, I still have responsibility as a mother, because, you know, everybody in this world will say, you know, once they're 18 years old, you could go have a best life. And guess what? Your responsibility as a parent will die. It will end at your deathbed. So in the meantime, I have to appreciate what I have in my life and love every minute of it. I want you to take away with this video is changing for the better, letting go the petty jealousies of life, and change your mindset so you can achieve your inner peace and live with gratitude and have a very quiet life. And I know I will be doing that. As you can see, the lighting has been shifting because I'm sitting in front of my window. So like, I see all these overcast clouds coming through. I think it's going to rain tonight. Anyway, yeah. I know I talked a lot, but I know if somebody's going through something, they could benefit this video. And I hope and pray that you'll find your peace. But also, you got to fight for it too. Even if it means letting go of people that don't deserve to be around you. Because you know what? You have to be your own priority in your own life. And that is the end of that. So thank you again, guys, for tuning in to my video. If you're new to the channel, you're very much welcome to subscribe. And if you like this video, you guys know what to do. And I will catch you guys soon on the next vlog. Bye.